If you use Microsoft Excel to create forms, you probably take advantage of things like drop-down lists and checkboxes to make selections. For years, drop-down lists have been easily created using Excel's data validation tool. Unfortunately, implementing checkboxes borders on a level of complexity that scares off many users. They lack a level of intuitiveness that make them difficult to implement. Plus, their lack of customizability in terms of size and color is disappointing. Microsoft has heard our cries and is releasing checkboxes for the modern era. I'll show you how to create, customize, and use these new modern checkboxes. At the end, I'll demonstrate a creative use that combines conditional formatting with checkboxes to create interesting visual effects. Currently, these are still in a testing phase, available to users participating in the Office Insider program. Hopefully, they'll be released to the public in the next few months. A link to this sample file is available in the description of this video, so feel free to download this file and play along. You'll also be able to see all the formulas I use to create the scenarios. So in this scenario, I have a series of checkboxes that when clicked will apply a selected discount to the gross, adjusting the subtotal, tax, and the total. So if the box is checked, they get a 10% discount. If the box is cleared, they don't get the discount. One of the things that makes the new checkboxes so nice is their ease of implementation. Compared to the older checkboxes, this is a welcome change. We start by just selecting a cell, and then we'll go up to Insert, and then Checkbox. Now, right now, this new cell control section only has the checkbox option, but Microsoft says they're going to be adding other features to this group. So with a click, we just add a checkbox. It's that simple. Now, what happens is behind the scenes, if you look in the formula bar, if the box is unchecked, it's stored in a false state. But if you check the box, then that false state changes to true. Clearing the checkbox will return it to false. Now, not only is this checkbox larger, easier to select, and easier to see, but it's also customizable. So if we go up to Home, using the font color, we can make the checkbox any color we like. So I'm going to go with this blue. So now you can see the unchecked and checked state. And because this is controlled with the standard font controls, you can also increase the size of the checkbox. Now, if I would like to have checkboxes in all of these discount cells, in the old days, I would have to create a separate checkbox for every cell and then go into the properties of that checkbox and associate it with the cell to store the true-false state. Not anymore. I could just go up to Insert and click Checkbox. Now, if I want to create a checkbox that uses the same cosmetic treatments as the first one, I can just copy and paste, or I can even paste in bulk. You can even insert checkboxes in bulk. If I were to select this range of cells, I can go up to Insert and click Checkbox, and now I have checkboxes in all the cells. Because the checkbox stores just a simple true-false state, you can use this in any formula, function, or feature in Excel that leverages true-false responses. So for this subtotal, you can see that I'm using an if statement, and because the first part of the if is just looking for a true-false, all I have to do is point it to the discount cell. So in this case, it would be cell G3. Because this is a proper table, it uses the structured reference bracket current row discount bracket. So if the box is unchecked, the test is false, we just repeat the gross. But if the box is checked, then we'll take the gross and multiply it by the discount. So now with just simple checkboxes, we can apply discounts. In this example, I have a table of sales with all of the details, but I'd like a secondary report that only shows the transactions and totals for those sales that exceed a specified value. So for this pass, that value is 500. If I want to reduce this list to only show transactions that are above the specified value, I just check the checkbox. And now the list has been filtered for only sales over $500. Clear the checkbox, and I see all of the transactions. So now I can implement the filter option, and then go below it and change the value. So maybe I only want to see transactions over $1,000, or transactions over $300. Now, if we look at the formula that drives this entire table, it's actually using dynamic array functions. Now, there are several things happening here that go beyond the scope of this video, such as filtering, sorting, and column selection. But the general idea is, we're using an if statement to look at the state of cell D2. D2 is the cell that holds the checkbox, and so the checkbox is either true or it is false. So in the if statement, the test is only looking at the checkbox. If the checkbox is true, then we perform this part of the if statement, which performs all the filtering and column selection and sorting. If the test is false, then we just perform simple column selection and sorting, but we don't do any filtering. Again, there's a link in the video description where you can download this file. Here's an example where I'm defining a value where instead of filtering the table based on that value, I want to highlight the table based on that value. So here my value is 500 for the total. If I check the box, every record that has a total greater than or equal to 500 will get shaded. If I change the value to 800, now only sales greater than or equal to 800 are shaded, or 1,000. I'm using conditional formatting to check the true-false state of cell D2. D2 holds the checkbox. So if the state is true, conditional formatting is applied. If the state is false, conditional formatting is not applied. Now there are two conditions here because it's not just the fact that the box is checked, but also that the total is greater than or equal to the value defined in cell D3. If we select one of the cells in the table having the feature, and we'll go to Home, Conditional Formatting, Manage Rules. Here's my rule. We'll go into Edit. And if you look at the rule, I'm testing two things. I'm testing the state of cell D2 for being true or false, and I'm also testing the fact that the first total in cell H6 is greater than or equal to the value defined in cell D3. Now this is using an AND condition, so both of these tests have to be true in order for the conditional formatting to take effect. If either of these go into effect, then the cell is turned green. This rule is then applied to the entire range of cells from B6 through H22, which is the table of data. Here's a creative use of the checkbox to apply row banding using conditional formatting. If the user wants row banding in their report, they can check a box and get banded rows. If they don't want row banding, they can clear the box and remove the feature. This is also using conditional formatting in combination with the checkbox. So if we select one of the cells in the data range, go up to Home, Conditional Formatting, Manage Rules. Here's the rule. It's being applied to cells B5 through H21, which is the range of data in the table. And if we edit the rule, we can see that this is similar to what we saw before, an AND statement that is testing two conditions. One is just to test the state of cell D2, which holds the checkbox, and that just reads as true or false. The second is to test every cell in that table to see if it is on an even row. So the row function returns the row number, and the even function just tests whether that number is even or odd. So if you're on row 8 and it is even, that will be true. If D2 is checked, that is also true. The AND says, apply conditional formatting, the row is banded. If either of those conditions is false, then the color is not applied. In this final example, we're going to use checkboxes to mark off stages of a project and have those checkboxes influence the construction of a chart. So here I have a donut chart that shows the percentage complete and percentage incomplete in my 7-stage project. So when I go in here and start checking off tasks, we can see the donut chart changing to reflect those checks. Now the way that this is working is the donut chart is only looking at the data range between C14 and D15. So completed and incomplete with two simple calculations. The completed calculation is a count if statement, and all it's doing is counting the cells that hold the checkbox and counting how many of those are true. True is defined as B14, which I've placed a checkbox in, and I've set it to a true state. So we're comparing all of the user-selected checkboxes with my statically declared checkbox. And then we're just dividing it by 7 because that is the number of tasks we have in the project. If that list were to change in task length, you'd probably want to make that denominator portion of this formula to be dynamic. But in this example, it's just static. For the incomplete phase, same thing. We're counting all the checkboxes in the range D5 through D11 and comparing them against the state of the checkbox in B15, which is currently unchecked. And then we just divide by 7. So now as I go through and check boxes, the numerator portion of this is changing. I'm sure you can probably come up with all sorts of creative ways to use checkboxes. You're really only limited by your imagination. If you've come up with a creative use for checkboxes, place it in the comments and share it with everybody else. I'd love to see what you're doing with this. It has such great potential. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Please let us know what you think about this new feature in the comments below. And if you have an idea for an upcoming video, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to make one. And remember, at BCTI, the learning never stops.